Before we get to your usual surgery on a Thursday night, your friend, the Olympic swimming legend, the British swimming legend, Sharron Davies, is waiting on the line, and she's going to join us. And we're going to talk about the growing controversy surrounding women's sport. I'm referring, of course, to the trans woman US swimmer Lia Thomas, who went from being a very, very average male swimmer, and after she's transitioned, she is now, she's unbeatable. She's beating every single biological woman by a mile. Now, a lot of people feel that this is the beginning of the end for women's sport, that is not fair, that biological males, no matter how much they have transitioned, will always be stronger than biological females. So that really is the issue we need to talk about. I know that Renee has strong feelings about it, and so does our special guest who joins us now, Sharron Davies. Good evening, Sharron.
Good evening, Kevin. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for joining us. You've taken a very brave stance. I find it extraordinary to say that it's brave of you to say that women's sport should be allowed to continue in which biological females compete against biological females, because, good luck to Lia Thomas, but when you see her standing on the winner's podium, dwarfing the person who came second and third, she's biologically, she is clearly so much stronger than the biological female competitors, that there's a problem here. This is not a level playing field. It's not fair. You said so, or you've bravely said so, and I said it again. Why is it brave to state, if I can say this, the bleeding obvious?
Because there's an awful lot of trans activists out there that just seem to think that it's okay to, pile on people, to be rude, to not listen to other people's arguments, and also to just not listen to facts and figures. And I've always tried to be really respectful. I absolutely believe that Lia has the right to identify however she likes and to be happy and to be 100% safe. But women, females, are entitled to have equal opportunities in sport as their male counterparts, which means that we're entitled to a level playing field. And at the moment, men are between 10 and 30% better, depending on how explosive the event is. So something like weightlifting is 30%, it's absolutely massive. Something like middle distance running, we're looking at 10%. That's still absolutely huge when people win Olympic medals by hundredths of a second. And 1.5% would cover the whole of the Olympic final, probably actually the top 20. So you can't give away 10, 30% without it being utterly ridiculous. And so what happens is someone like Lia, who was ranked over number 500 in college swimming when she was competing as a male, which was 2 years ago, has become number one in the world, beating 3 Olympic silver medalists in the process. And she's not even a sprinter. She actually was a 1,500 meter swimmer, which was the longest distance we have in the swimming pool, which is why she has this very lazy stroke, which means that she uses her upper body and not her legs, which is not a sprinter style whatsoever.
I think all three of us, we're all for trans rights. I agree with you, I agree with you. Everybody should be allowed to live their lives in whatever way makes them happy, as long as they don't harm anyone else. But in terms of sport, as I say, all due respect to Lia Thomas, this is not against her personally, but what she's doing is making swimming, it's turning it into a ludicrous spectacle, to be honest with you. It's making it not fair. Something has to be done about this, because we're in mission creep now, aren't we? This is going to spread to many other sports, and it spells potentially the end for women who want to take part in sports.
Yeah, well, ultimately, it means that females won't be able to win their own races. But the thing is, it's not just winning the races. In that one event, Lia's event, the 500 meters last week, there was a girl that didn't make the semi-finals because she was 17th. There was a girl that didn't make the final because she was 9th. There was a girl that didn't get on the medal podium because she was 4th. And there was a girl that actually was 2nd, who actually was the first female in the race who didn't become the national champion. So, there were 5 women that were affected by Lia's just one swim in that one particular race. So it isn't just about the actual racing and the winning. It's also the person that from Penn State who didn't make the team because she got left at home because Leah got her place. So it affects all the way down the chain. And we already know we have quite a problem trying to encourage young girls to stay in sport. And it's really important that we do get that message out to them, because it's all about health and well-being and mental health in particular. But if they don't even have those examples to look up to because their races are being won by males, where are we going to go with that? This is about sexual discrimination. Yes. Men are entitled to have fair sport, and at the moment, women are not.
Yes, my blood boiled on your behalf, Sharron, when the Labour MP Charlotte Nichols called you a lazy transphobe.
Yeah,
because
and
of your
she called herself a competitive swimmer too, which was quite amusing because I checked up on that and that's not really the case. So I do think you have to make sure that you don't throw stones in glass houses as well. But hey ho, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but you're not entitled to call people names. And and transphobe means I'm frightened of trans people. I'm absolutely not, and I have no issue with Leah racing whatsoever. I just believe she should race where her biology matches everybody else in the race.
What's your view on this, Renee?
So I'm with Sharron. I mean, Sharron has actually been a hero of mine. I used to swim as well. And she was somebody that I looked up to. And now that I have a daughter who's 3.5, I think to myself, who is she going to look up to and want to emulate, want to win races, want to feel that adrenaline for being the best? Because what is going to happen, I believe, I don't know what Sharron feels about this, is that Olympic medals are actually really, really valuable for countries to win. They bring in a lot of money, a lot of sponsorship. So I actually think that countries will now be actively scouting for the best trans women in every single sport that they can to win as many Olympic medals as they can, and that will spell the end of women's sport. So what will our girls do? Where will they go?
Exactly. Can we have a little listen at both of you? This is a question sort of aimed at both of you, more about you both being women as opposed to a sports star, Sharron. So let's have a little listen to Rishi Sunak talking to Julia Hartley-Brewer earlier on today.
What is a woman?
Well, I thought the Prime Minister answered this brilliantly in Prime Minister's Question Times, in Prime Minister's Questions this week, and I fully agree with him.
And so what is your definition of a woman?
As I said, I would exactly agree with what the Prime Minister said at Prime Minister's Question Time. I thought he answered the question very well.
An adult human female?
Sorry, Julia, as I said, I thought the Prime Minister answered the question brilliantly. And
he thought he answered it brilliantly. So what were the words that he said that you agree with, Chancellor?
I think if you look at the full thing that he said on Wednesday, he answered the question brilliantly, and I would agree with every word that he said.
We're not going to get a proper answer from you, are we? It's a really simple question.
Because I can't remember it. Because I can't remember.
Well, okay. I mean, adult human.
As well as he did.
Adult human female.
I thought he put it very well, and I think if actually you get his language, and I'd happily associate myself with every word that he said. I thought he put it very well.
So there you go, Sharron. Rishi Sunak thought that the Prime Minister's description of what a woman was so impressive that he couldn't remember it. I mean, what do you first, Sharron, but what do you both make of these politicians who refuse to define what a woman is? Don't forget we had Eva Cooper on, I think it was Times Radio a couple of weeks ago, saying, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. When she was asked, what is a woman? I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I mean, this is absurd, isn't it?
It's absurd that we're losing the actual definition of words. So we get to a point where we can't actually explain anything, or we can't protect anything. So how do we protect women if we can't explain what a woman is? It's ludicrous to say that a woman has raped somebody, because a woman cannot rape somebody. So a male is the only person that with male genitalia that can actually rape. And to insist that a woman has to call her rapist a she and a female is putting, the rights of the rapist in front of the rights of the victim. So we have to be incredibly careful where we're going with this. It's back to this thing where we can be respectful and we can let people live their lives however makes them feel most comfortable and most happy. But there is a biological reality to two sexes, which is male and female. They are immutable. You cannot change them. The sex that you are born with will be the sex that you will die with, no matter how many cross-sex hormones you take, no matter how much plastic surgery you have. So it's a biological reality, but that doesn't mean that we can't respect people who wish to present themselves however they like. And I'm more than happy to call anybody a she and to call them whatever name they would like to be called by. But I'm not going to pretend that biology doesn't exist.
Yeah, me too. That's exactly my viewpoint. Don't tell me to believe in something that isn't actually scientifically true. Listen, Sharron, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Can you let me... What are you up to these days? What would you like to tell the listeners?
Well, I've been working really hard on my website. I'm passionate, as Renee and you probably both know, about fitness and health. It's so important. You know, our physical health really affects our mental health. It releases endorphins, which are our natural way of antidepressants. And so I just want people to be exercising a bit more. So I've been working really hard on a home fitness program, Sharron Davies training. So I'm quite excited about that. And that's what I've thrown myself into in this last couple of years when everyone's been stuck at home.
So Sharron Davies training. So if they put that into Google, they'll find everything, yes?
They'll find me there and hopefully they can come and train with me.
And last question, really, because of your brave stance, because you've had the guts to speak out about this swimming issue, about the trans sports women issue, has it had any bad effects on you? Because some people find themselves sort of getting cancelled for daring to say maybe a woman is, an adult human female.
Yeah, I mean, the good news, I genuinely feel things are changing. Sadly, I think 3 years ago, I predicted that it was going to take a few very big names being beaten before the general public went, hang on, this is not fair. And that's kind of what's happening. And I was trying to avoid that because I did not want women to lose out. And the reason I'm so vocal is obviously during the 70s and the 80s, there was a whole period of time when, female athletes lost all their medals to the East German doping program. And nobody for 20 years did anything. And everyone pretended like we didn't know. And we absolutely knew at the time. And it's the same now. We know at the time. So why are we letting it happen? And so that's why I'm vocal. But I do feel very strongly that the tide is changing.
You're very brave to speak out. And thank you once again for joining us, Sharron Davies.
Thanks, Sharron.